Hey, what's going on, friends? So we're going to talk about boulder walls, retaining walls, and some of the construction techniques and some of what I would like to call best practices that we use when we're building boulder retaining walls. For this video, we're going to look at one of the projects we did last year, 2016, and it was a larger boulder wall, meaning larger boulders, and it was a good sized wall. You can use these same practices for smaller retaining walls, whether it's a smaller wall itself physically or smaller boulders within that wall. As you can see we'll start by going through some of the pictures here. Really, with any construction, like, your foundation is going to be key. You've got to have a good foundation. So if your existing current soils are maybe clay-based or just pure gravel, like really rocky gravel that won't pack very well, basically clay and gravel, and then topsoil, if it's all black dirt, you want to get all that out of there. You want to get down to a real good, clean, sandy, you can have a little bit of clay in there. That's not going to hurt. In some cases, it's going to help tighten things up when you pack it. But you're going to want a really good base, as with anything when you're building a foundation or a frame or anything on any type of construction. So you want to put your largest boulders on the bottom because they've got the most mass, they can hold the most weight, and they're going to have the least resistance to actually move when it comes to things like frost. Maybe you bump it with a tractor when you're mowing the lawn. A tractor's not going to bump or move a 3,000-pound boulder, but frost will potentially move that boulder. So you want a really good foundation, and you really want to set the bottom boulders. You can see in this picture here how a lot of these boulders are set not only to aesthetically look good, but more importantly, this bottom rung of boulders was set to serve as a locking foundation. So they're erratic, meaning erratic, there's no general shape, or the size is consistent, meaning they're reasonably about a 3,000-pound boulder each. But the shapes of them are different. They're erratic boulders, and you want to interlock those boulders so that they actually create like a puzzle piece where it's very strong. Once it's locked in, it's stacked on top of each other and then backfilled. It creates an extremely strong wall. So you want the boulders to really go into the ground. So a lot of times you could set rocks or set boulders to only serve the purpose as a visual aspect and use like a larger face of the rock. You've got to be careful. You can do that in some scenarios and in some cases, but a lot of times using that larger face is going to put less weight or less surface area of the rock either on the bottom, meaning where the weight's at, or in the back in the dirt. You want a lot of that surface area. You want it to lock in, basically, is what you want to do. So that's the overall general construction practice of it. You want these boulders to lock in place as best as possible. And there is, with erratic shapes, it's just a complete art game. It's just, you got to fit them in. You're back and forth with, some are going to fit right, some won't. You might have to take it apart a little bit. And it's really important too to work with either the homeowner, you the homeowner, or work with the builder and make sure that as you're building that wall, it's really looking how they want it to look. Because you could build the wall how you want it to look in the end and think it's great, and they may not be happy with it. And then that's either your time and material, it's more cost for the homeowner, or it's rework over for the contractor, for myself. So it's really important to work with the homeowner and work with or the builder on how they want that wall to look. If you're doing an engineered wall, just follow the print. It's pretty standard that way. Engineered walls are really completely different. So the other important factor to use with boulder walls, and I think this is more really in Michigan a practice that should be used by everyone. It's not, though. I have seen a lot of boulder walls, and I've seen them fail fast. There was one built last year, and it's already failing. But you'll notice that there's this black material, landscaping fabric. It's really heavy-duty, thick stuff. But that black material serves as a barrier to prevent water from washing out sand and small debris through the rock wall. So having that fabric there prevents that. No matter what, unless it's pure clay, or even if it's really good gravel, like if you actually backfilled the boulder wall with pure gravel, like road gravel, you're still going to have washouts back there. So, and it depends too on, you know, what kind of overall material is the soil made of, where's the fall, where's the grade going to, where's the water flowing, all that. There's a lot of variables in it, but for the most part, always going to use landscape fabric behind a boulder wall. It's a very, compared to the cost of the overall boulder wall, it's a very cheap, simple, effective way to ensure that that boulder wall is never going to leak. It's never, and I say leak, it's never going to have sand leak through it. And it's just going to preserve and make that wall last even longer. Because what happens, you don't put that fabric behind the boulder wall, water will begin seeping through and bring sand with it. And then you're going to have either sand or debris on, say, your patio, or falling onto your lawn or your driveway or whatever it may be. And then eventually it's going to create a sinkhole behind your boulder wall, and it's eventually going to cave a lot faster than it would without having the fabric in place. And you'll have a boulder wall that'll last, you know, lifetime, 100 years, no problem. So that is really the basics of it. You want to backfill with a good clean material that's going to drain well, like sand or a gravelly sandy mix, so that water flows down behind the wall. Depending on your slopes behind the wall, you're going to want that water to wash away from the wall. You want the water to go away from the wall. As you can see in these pictures here, there's a mound. The water is going to go towards the rainwater will wash off towards the lake water, and then it'll also wash off towards the house and around onto the lawn and the grass. And with that landscaping there, anyways, a lot of the water is just going to get soaked up and saturated by the plantings and also the mulch, the decorative mulch that's placed out there. So those are some of the basics that you need to consider when having your contractor build a boulder wall for you. If you'd like a free quote estimate, feel free to give Avery Excavating, myself, a call. You can find the number on the link on this video, and we look forward to helping you out very soon. Thanks. Bye.